Alright, hi everybody. It's Bonkai922. Did the video before the whole copyright thing. Sony. Fuck Sony. Pet Girl of Sakurasou. Episode 22. This one was called Dash Through Those Brilliant Days. Now, this one was good. I want to say I'm at a cross ends, kind of thing. And what I mean is, when I first started watching this show, I don't want to bring this up. I want to bring this up to a point. And we were first introduced to this character, Mashiro. I don't know if you can do this with anime characters, fell over heels. In other words, fell over on myself for this character. I really adored this character to some extent. Because, and to some extent, this show, at first, I was hesitant to review it. I was, because it seemed so weird, and I was like, what the fuck is this? But over time, just like Psycho-Pass, I grew to love it. Now, Mashiro as a character is unbelievable. She's an unbelievable character in the show. She's the main focus of the show. And Pet Girl of Sakurasou. But that doesn't mean I'm a little upset way things were going in this episode, because the fact of the matter is, NANAMI never got to properly confess to Sakurasou. Now, in retrospect, you can't really say that NANAMI is a childhood friend. I mean, you can't really say that. She's known Sakurasou, but not to the extent where you can consider her a childhood friend to some extent. But anyway, that's beside the point. What happened in this episode with NANAMI, it was kind of upsetting. But at the same time, this really was about Mashiro. So let's get into it. I told you the episode title. Pretty much what happened in this episode, we had the beginning where Sakurasou, and listen, Sakurasou in last week's episode, he wasn't really saying straight to her. He was just, his heart was breaking, pretty much. That was the whole gist. And he's just in his bed, and he's contemplating that, and he's really upset and pissed off, and all these emotions going through. And the next day comes, and he's saying to himself he shouldn't have said that, but that's probably the way he really felt. And he gets up, and Misaki-senpai's there, and Jin is there. Jin. It's hard to say those names. Jin-san. And they're getting ready to go to school for the graduation ceremony. And he's walking up past them, and he's very depressed, and both of them are noticing it, and so on and so forth. And he goes up there to wake her up. Mashiro. And there's NANAMI across the hall. And already, this is right after the whole incident with him and her. And she's like saying, that she has bags under her eyes and calls her ugly. He's like, she made a bit on that. And he goes in there, and she's not there. Mashiro. You know it was coming. So he starts walking all over the freaking house of Sakurasou trying to find her. And then the, sensei tells him that she left early in the morning. And almost on cue, Runanosuke shows up and he says, well, this was the obvious choice. Listen, I'm not hating on Runanosuke, but Runanosuke, listen. There's a time to speak your mind, and then there's a time to shut the fuck up, okay? I mean, come on, man. You can't just... It's too cold, man. Runanosuke, shut up. you turn it into a real shitty situation with your comment there. But anyway, after pretty much that, and it was like an instance when he brings out his GPS and he knows where she is, and then all of a sudden, in like one go, Misaki grabs, Saruta, and everybody they rush the fuck out of there, like they go bad to hell, and they then decide to go look for her, which is an adventure under itself. So they just drive the car into the school grounds and shit, and every day. So they go up there and they start searching, and eventually they go to the art room. That was kind of scary because there's a painting, and the painting is basically Mashiro drew, painted this painting of Sakurasou and everybody in Sakurasou except for her. And then Saruta was really pissed off about it. He felt really upset and all this other stuff. And that's when they decide to go after her. Because what happens is they're trying to figure out like where she went. And there's a moment Jin looks at Saruta and saying, "You probably know where she is," and so on and so forth. And he runs off, and NANAMI runs off with him. Now, that was that. Fire Hogwarts or something. Anyway, there was a moment. I want to get into what happened between Saruta. Before I get into that, another thing happened that kind of pissed me off. It was the guy who was helping Saruta for his game. I forgot his name. I apologize on that. He comes to see the sensei at Sakurasou, and she looks at him and says, "Maybe you should stop dicking around with my kids." And she's referring to Saruta, because apparently what he was stating was that reason why he failed was because the people who made the game wanted Sheena, and that's why he couldn't pass. And he apologizes for it, and then she says, "Oh no, you don't have to worry about that the building's being destroyed because they're going to take care of it." It was almost like saying, "Fuck you, get the fuck out," to him. And that's basically what happened. And after that, you have basically Saruta having this conversation with NANAMI. She never says it to his face that she loves him, but she says, "Thank you for all the support. You made me work hard," all that stuff. "You've always been there for me," basically, kind of speech. And that's when he leaves, and she says it to him when he leaves. "Because I love you." This, it's mixed reactions for me. It really is. It is mixed reactions for me. Because on the one hand, I'm saying Mashiro all the way. But on the other hand, I'm thinking NANAMI. But after the story, it's Mashiro. It's Mashiro. That's the way you look at it. Because, NANAMI never... If she had just swallowed her pride and said, "Fuck it, I'm going to tell him anyway." If she had swallowed her pride and told him on Christmas Eve, during Christmas, it would have been a different story. So anyway, pretty much what then happens, he's running then and going to the train station. I'm just running. Finally, he gets there and finds her. Before that, there was another scene also I forgot to mention with Jin Misaki-senpai, and he gives this letter to the former student council president. And he looks at it. That's probably going to happen next week. That involves next week. I think it's basically plans of getting Sakurasou from being destroyed. And then basically we then have the meeting between Mashiro and Saruta. And Saruta states that he had hatred to her. He wasn't pulling any punches here. He was really going ham here. and her expressions, oh man, expressions from Mashiro were fantastic. She was really putting emotion into her, into what she was, and saying it's my fault. It's better off I'm not there. You hate me, and she's crying. And I'm like, wow, fantastic. And he basically said that, and when he's saying this, just when he's about to say something important here, the train comes by, and he comes out with it. He comes out with it and says that he loved her and all this sort of stuff, and NANAMI's there, and she's just smiling. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's all it's about. And they more or less come to terms. And she, even though the train passes by, you're thinking, oh, she's gone. No, she came back. So Mashiro didn't leave. And then there's this intimate moment between NANAMI and Mashiro, which I really liked. And it was very sad and sweet and stuff. And then he tells Mashiro that you don't know the real Sakurasou. And she says, yes, I do. Yes, I do. No, you don't. No, you don't. Sakurasou is just a building. And he's talking about Misaki-senpai, Jin-san, NANAMI, Wenanosuke, saying we're all here and we're all together. And that was the whole bit that Sarota was basically telling her. And it was a tender moment, and they made up, and they love each other. And then we see Wenanosuke show up. And there's a moment where Mashiro hugs NANAMI, and she's really tight. Like killing her, and she's like, ah! And Wenanosuke shows up with Rita. I forgot to mention Rita. Rita showed up in this episode. It's pretty good. And they all then decide, let's get out of here because the graduation's going to start. So they're all then running, and a moment happened in the final bits of this episode where Sarota says that he doesn't know what color he is. Now, I want to say what that means. The very first episode, that's what Mashiro asked him. What color are you? And he did say in this episode, what he said was cherry blossoms. That's the color he was thinking of. He doesn't know a specific, but for today, he would say that. And that's pretty much what happened. Now, like I said, a lot of shit going down in this episode. Very emotional moment between Mashiro and Sarota. Now, even though I've noticed the certain cues between NANAMI and Sarota, the fact of the matter is this. I think for her, she's not making any gripes about it. It's like she knows now that Mashiro and Sarota are meant to be together. Almost kind of like that. And now that Mashiro went through this whole process of all this character development with her character and her emotions with Sarota and Sakurasou, and that's done with, she's becoming a great character in the show. Now, next week's episode is called Graduation Ceremony. So this is basically the ceremony, the graduation, that whole bit. Now, after that, there's only one more episode. We have to wait and see on that. But overall, this episode was really about Sarota and Mashiro. Clear as day. I gotta wonder what happens next. I mean, we're gonna have a graduation ceremony, so you got that. Obviously, the thing that Jin, did I say Jin, gave to the former student council president, that's probably plans of canceling the destruction of Sakurasou. So, that's probably what that is, and they're going to save it, and so on and so forth. But, I mean, the truth of the matter is, they save it, it's going to be basically Mashiro and Sarota staying there. I think, because it seems like NANAMI is going to be leaving because of the whole thing with the failed, her thing that she was doing, voice acting, failed at it. So, yeah. And that's pretty much what happened, is what I'm pretty sure is going to go down here. But overall, Mashiro's character, flawless. Mashiro and Sorota, flawless. This was a flawless episode, no questions asked. 5 out of 5. I was close to crying. I was close to crying. It got a little emotional between NANAMI and Mashiro. I was like, wow. So yeah. But that's all I got for you guys. So yeah, this was a great episode, hands down. That's all you need to know. It's been Bankai 922. I'll see you guys later. Live stream tonight, Wednesday night. Look forward to it. Also, meet you later. I'll see you guys later.